Who inspires you? What inspires you? When what is inspired, it almost feels like you have an extra engine in your body that's really pushing you, that's driving you, that's giving you that energy to do what you truly want to do. You wake up with a lot of inspiration, you wake up with a lot of excitement, and you just surge ahead and do what you really specialize to do. So the thing is, not everyone wakes up having that kind of inspiration. Some people, they grow up knowing exactly what they're supposed to do. Many people, even at the age of 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, they have no clue what they're supposed to do. And hence they lose energy, they lose their own inspiration and their own motivation, and they end up being pretty lost. So I remember 20 years ago, I picked up this book, Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. And you may be thinking, is it all about being rich? Is it all about making riches? Becoming wealthy? Well, I must say it's more than just that. It's about some of the most successful people in the world. It talks about knowledge, it talks about wisdom, it talks about manifestation. And even the first chapter talks about belief, desire, and expectancy. It gives a good account about someone by the name of Edwin C. Barnes, who had this inclination to want to meet Thomas Edison, and he thought he never could because somehow he was not so pleasant looking and was never given many opportunities. But eventually he got to meet Thomas Edison, pushed and pushed and pushed, and eventually got working with Thomas Edison and became a multimillionaire. And again, a lot of the stories here is about optimism, is about perseverance, and is about the attitude to become the best person you can possibly be. In a typical program like the one we are conducting, we speak a lot about attitude, which is why it takes many years to drill in the right attitude to become the best person you want to be. Another book that has really inspired me is Marcy Shimoff's Happy for No Reason. In it, she talks a lot about her goals and how much she was setting even bigger goals and bigger audacious goals. And I'm sure her story is going to speak to you because it talks about success. And although a lot of us are chasing success, many of us just do not know what's really involved. And with her story, she used to talk about setting large goals, and she would meet those goals, and then when she'll meet those goals, she'll set even larger goals. And she went on like a hamster in a wheel, and just went on and on and on. And you know what a hamster is like when they're in a wheel. They just use their legs, and they use a lot more strength, and they go faster and faster and faster, and then they run out of steam, and then they lose their drive. So Marcy Shimoff spoke about this because she was busy trying to meet all her goals, and she was really manifesting all of that. But she realized that she was losing her energy, and she was losing her motivation, she was losing her inspiration, until she found that she was really trying to be happy from the outside in rather than the inside out. So what do I mean by the outside in? A lot of us are busy chasing the outside. We're chasing a bigger home, we're chasing a much larger or much more expensive watch, we're chasing a much larger job, bigger responsibility, and of course it's giving us all the kinds of results that we want to achieve. We are meeting all our milestones, but what happens in the end? We lose our energy, and then we sink down into depression, we lose our zest, our motivation, and then we can't quite continue. So Marcy Shimoff speaks about being happy from the inside out. And when you're happy from the inside out, there's truly a lot of contentment, there's a lot of inspiration, there's a lot of excitement that happens from the inside, and you don't quite have to have a reason on the outside to be happy on the inside. It's all about a mindset. It's all about your belief systems again. It's all about the attitude you adopt and being satisfied with what you have rather than what you don't have. So it's not about having to chase the many things that are out there. It's not having to visit and go all around the world to see different parts of the world and get excited, but it's really about what you choose to manifest to give you the kind of joy and excitement from the inside. About 20 years ago, when I was first starting out in my career, I started to ask myself, where can I draw inspiration from? And I picked up quite a few different biographies, which I thought, hey, if I could read about some of the most important people in the world who really made a difference, perhaps I could get some ideas from there. And I read a book on Bill Gates, I read a book on Nelson Mandela, I read a book on Mother Teresa, and I was really inspired by them. And one of the people whom I was really inspired by, of course, was Bill Gates, who was then the richest person in the world. And he set a really huge goal. And he said in 1995 that he would want as many people as possible to own a computer at home. And in 1995, only 1% of people in the world had a computer. By 2005, 1 billion people had a computer. 2010, 2 billion people had a computer. And by 2014, 3 billion already had a computer at home. I mean, that was a huge goal which he really managed to manifest. 5 years ago, I wrote this book called Unshakable Spirit. And in it, I decided to write about all those people who inspired me And I must admit, just writing about those people, it really got to remind me that there was a strategy. It wasn't just a goal, it wasn't just a thought, it wasn't just a belief. It was a huge goal which was broken up into small little pieces which they decided, hey, there was an idea, there was a strategy, and it all could be manifested provided it was executed. Some of you who are listening to this might be wondering, what can I learn from a billionaire? What can I learn from such a famous person? But let's put it this way. All of them would have started from a certain point, and all of us have to start from a certain point. So why not you start from the right set point? Many of us who are trying to get along in life and trying to move on in our life may not have a strategy, may not have a way of moving forward. And I have to admit that one of the best ways you can actually move forward and have that advantage over most other people is to know exactly where you're going and why you need to go where you go. Most of these leaders had an overarching sense of purpose, and that means they really knew what they wanted. A lot of us perhaps are just like what Marcy Shimoff in her book said, we're just working and we're working, we don't quite know why we do what we do. So perhaps starting off with that purpose and knowing why you want to do what you want to do, and then know exactly how you're going to start. So this program is really going to teach us perhaps what's most important to us,